Hey, Allison Verhalen here with AV Writing Services. And today I want to, because, people, it is going to show up in online searches, ideally, if you have all your SEO ducks in a row. But even if you did everything right from an SEO standpoint, it can still take 2, even 3 months for Google to go through that content, crawl all that content, categorize it, and index it before it starts showing up in online searches. Most people with their content, that's when they really see an uptick in traffic to their content, is about 3 months after it's been published. So that's super frustrating, right? Especially if you've published something that's on a timely topic. For me, for example, I tend to write about like Google SEO updates, right? People want to know about them as soon as the updates happen. 3 months later, they don't care because there's another Google core algorithm update they want to know about. So distributing your content is how you get around that. You have a strategy, just like you have with every other part of your content marketing strategy. You need a strategy for distributing your content. So we are going to get into that in this video. So first of all, types of content to distribute. What are the best types of content? How can you get the best bang for your buck, so to speak, or the best ROI for your time invested if you're doing it yourself? Which types of content should you be distributing? My favorite is ebooks, just because they're so easy. Not only can you put them all over social media and in your newsletter, you can also sell them on Amazon or another website if you want to, or Amazon and another website. Amazon is not the only seller of ebooks. There are other options out there. So yes, you can absolutely just put it up as a free download on your website. I've seen people do that. That is a great way to use it as a lead magnet. But you can also get it out on Amazon, especially if it's a nice long book and really has a lot of good content that your audience is looking for. Get it out on Amazon, because that's a great way to get it in front of people who have not heard of your brand, do not know to look for you, but they might be on Amazon looking for books about a particular subject. And if your book pops up and they go ahead and buy it and they love it, and you've got that good call to action at the end, that's, again, it's a great way to A, get in front of them, and B, lead them through the funnel. So love ebooks. Definitely take advantage of that. Videos, I love videos because they are great for repurposing / distribution. So you can take a video, you can take just the audio from that video and turn it into a podcast. And then you can take the transcript from that audio and turn it into a blog post. So now you have a video, a podcast episode, and a blog post, and you only really created one piece of content, right? But you have, with a little bit of tweaking, now you have 3 different pieces of content. So people who want to read it can read it. Google can more easily crawl and index that content. The written content, people who want to watch the video can watch the video. People who just want to listen can do that on the podcast. Again, one piece of content everywhere. You can put the video up on YouTube and then embed it on your website. Same with the podcast. You can put it up on, wherever you want to distribute your podcast, and also, again, embed it on your website. And then you've got that blog post on your website. So love videos because they're the future of content marketing, possibly the present of content marketing, according to some people. And they're super easy to just really get the most out of them. We are very visual creatures, so there are a lot of people who like videos, but there are also people like myself who either want to read it, or sometimes we just want to listen to stuff while we're getting other stuff done, and we're doing other stuff with our hands, doing housework, walking the dog, whatever, and we don't want to be watching a video, but we'll listen to the audio. So absolutely take advantage of all that videos have to offer, because they're so easy to repurpose and distribute. Infographics. Again, we are visual creatures. That's why infographics are so popular. They're very engaging, larger video or images for people to look at, and especially if you make them interactive by including links. I've also seen people including a little bit of animation in this past year. So absolutely play around with your infographic, and again, make the most of them. Next up is your testimonials and success stories. I always recommend collecting your testimonials and your success stories, but also make the most of them once you get them, because that is your social proof. You can talk about how awesome you are until you are blue in the face, but when someone sees just one little blurb from someone who loved what you provided for them, it's going to be so much more powerful in convincing them that they really do want to buy from you. So get those testimonials, get those success stories, and then put them up on your website, distribute them everywhere, make the most of them. Webinars are also great, especially if you're in a B2B industry or a professional services industry, because again, a lot of people are looking for information on a topic before they're looking to buy anything in particular. So your webinar is a great way to position yourself as an authority. Again, you can record them as videos, you can put them up on YouTube, you can embed them onto your website, you can have a whole page devoted to webinars so people can browse through the webinars there on your page and see what's available. That is a fantastic piece of content that you should absolutely be taking advantage of and distributing. And finally, last but not least, is blog posts, my favorite. Very easy to distribute because they're full of knowledge and valuable information that people are looking for, right? So it's a great way to capture those leads in the early stages of the buyer journey, people who might not have heard from you. So you absolutely want to take advantage of that by distributing that content everywhere in front of people who and audiences who may not be aware of your brand. A blog post is a great way to get their attention. All right, so that's all of our kinds of content that we're distributing. Now we are going to get into your different channels for distribution. So I think the two most obvious are your newsletter and your social media. People who subscribe to your newsletter, people who follow you on social media have agreed to do so because they've seen a little bit of what you have to offer. They're interested to see more. They're probably not ready to buy just yet, but they might be ready to buy a little bit later. I just got a new client this past week because she's been following, she attended one of my webinars, and then she's been following my newsletter for a few months. And when she was ready to buy, she reached out. So absolutely take advantage of your newsletter. Anytime you have new content that you want to distribute, put that out on your newsletter. Same with social media. I see a lot of small business owners, especially newer ones, focusing, on the number of followers and engagement on social media, which is great, but is that translating to sales? And if it is, great, but a lot of them get frustrated when they have the followers, they have the engagement, and they don't have the sales. And a lot of it is they're not leading people back to their website. So again, blog posts are my favorite for this. Videos are also great. Videos tend to do really well on social media. Same with infographics. So you could have, for example, an infographic, and maybe there's a link within the infographic to get back to your website. So people are looking at the infographic on social media. They find it really engaging. They click on that link. They go back to your website to get more information. Super valuable. So take advantage of social media. Do keep in mind that social media posts that contain links tend not to perform as well, according to HubSpot, compared to social media posts that do not contain links. It makes sense. Social media sites do everything they can to keep users on the site, right? They don't want you clicking away to some other website. They want to keep you scrolling through their feed so you consume their ads. They get paid for those ad views, those clicks. So it makes sense. So I always like to mix and match. I will always have some posts with links and some with just some content and an engaging image. So just keep that in mind. So you got your newsletters, your social media. Those are the easiest, I think, but they tend to be confined to the people who already know about you, right? Social media, I think, is also a great way. When you've really used strategically, you can get your content in front of people who have not heard of you. It just takes a little more work. If you want to go the fast route, if you want to jump the line, so to speak, paid media. So again, social media, you can advertise on social media, and then you can put a link to your website, because if they're getting paid for that content, then they won't hide that post, so to speak. So that is when it can really behoove you to take advantage of that social media opportunity and pay the service, whichever social media platform you end up using, pay them to promote your content so it gets in front of more people. Again, pick and choose the kinds of content you want to do this with. Make sure that it's really worth your while to pay for it. Same with Google ads. Again, it takes like 2, sometimes 3 months for Google to index and categorize your content so that it actually organically shows up in online searches. So you can, again, kind of jump the line by paying for Google ads until the organic SEO starts to take effect. Influencer marketing. So I'll talk about earned media in a little bit, but influencer marketing is great because it gets you that buy-in, that social proof of earned media, without actually having to earn it, which is not to say that your content is not valuable, not high quality, not worthwhile. It absolutely can be, but there's a whole strategy behind earned media. It's its own beast, right? So just because you've got valuable stuff doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that earned media. So you can use influencer marketing to pay influencers in your industry to promote your stuff, to get you to, whatever it is. If it's a link to your website, don't pay for backlinks. But you can pay for content. You can pay to have a guest blog post up there, whatever it is that is going to help you get in front of more people. Again, it helps with that social proof. Again, a word of caution when it comes to paid media: be aware of the search intent behind the keywords that you're targeting when you're paying for it. Just because if someone is searching how to do XYZ, or they want more information on a particular topic, they're not necessarily ready to buy just yet, especially if you're in a B2B industry or a professional services industry. I know a lot of B2C companies have success with social media advertisements. They can put up a link for them to go straight to their sales page, and people can buy directly from social media. Works really well for some people. But if you have a longer sales funnel, it can be harder, which is not to say that it's not worth it, but just be aware of that funnel and be aware if you decide to put up something that's more information heavy rather than salesy, something like a blog post or a video, then just know that you're not necessarily going to get a return on that investment right away. You might months, even years down the road, after they've taken the call to action in that particular piece of content and then taken the next call to action, and after you've led them through that buyer journey. But just know what that is going to look like, as far as, you're going to have a fair amount of time where you're paying for these ads and you're not seeing immediate results. So if you can afford that, great. If not, just be a little wary of how you're using paid media. So next up, earned media. That's when someone else shares or talks about your content without getting paid for it. That's someone just going, hey, I think this person over here, this company over here is really awesome. I think you should know about this new product or service they have, or this new blog post they have up. It's awesome. I love that. Again, guest blogging. I've talked about it before. Being a guest on someone else's podcast is earned media. That's a great way to get in front of a whole other audience. Without having to pay for it or without having to create new content. Check my links. I've talked about it before. I'll mention it again. It's a Chrome browser extension where you can crawl another page of another website. You can, let's say you put up a blog post about XYZ and you are looking for more content on a similar topic or on the same topic, and you can crawl it to see if there are any broken links on that web page. And if there are, you can reach out to the author and say, hey, I noticed you have a broken link in this content here. I just thought you should know that I just happened to have a newly published blog post on that very topic. You can find that over here. And then you provide the link. No guarantees that they're going to take advantage of it, but they're much more likely to, because you just solved a problem for them they did not realize that they had. So absolutely take advantage of that. So that is it. That is everything I have to say about content distribution. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. You can always reach me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. And if you want more information like this, obviously I have more videos, but I also have a whole lot of information like this over on my website at avwritingservices.com. That's it. Have a great day and happy blogging.